let it be known that Goblin said he liked the system. So if I don't like it, dunno, Gabloon might be a problem. Just saying. No, he just wrote the new space. We're chilling. All right, flame off, flame off. Let me read it. Okay, so
A leech has
Goblin
spawned.
slipped and said that the contracts are tradable and a drop. So they quick put out a blog before the full release. So let's see what it is. Yesterday's speculation about Yama's contract system hit an all-time high. We wanted to clear some bits up ahead of release to make sure everybody's on the same page and understands exactly what these are and what they're for. What follows is a section from next Wednesday's blog. There may be some changes between now and then, but we think this covers most of the important bases. Good. I'm really happy we're getting a blog early. This is really nice. Sharing this info now gives us the opportunity to answer any lingering questions you might have in the next week's game update blog. So we're happy to hear what you've got to say, and we'll aim to address what we can as Yama releases on Wednesday. Pause. Contracts are tradable agreements that you can bring to Yama. Sign on the dotted line, he'll show you a little more of his power in a more challenging fight with some kind of guaranteed reward up for grabs if you prove successful. It's cool to like know what you're going to get when you do it. That's kind of neat. This means that so I have questions about that though. This means that upon obtaining a contract, you'll have to weigh up whether or not you think you can beat it in a single attempt or play it safe and sell it to another player instead. They might get into this, but like, is that loot gonna stay that way until you go attempt, or is it like per contract? Am I just gonna go sell that contract and buy a new one to like get different loot? Surely not, right? To be clear, Yama in his base form is the intended experience and is how the overwhelming majority of players will engage with the boss for most of the time they spend engaging with it. Contracts are an added layer of spice on top for players wanting to push themselves. But the encounter, its rewards, and time to complete are all built off of the base experience first and foremost. Okay. There are at least 7 bespoke contracts at the moment. 7 is a lot of contracts. Yama will show off more of his power regardless of what contract you've signed, but each bespoke contract should change the way you approach the fight fundamentally, and each of them offers a different reward. This reward is fixed for each contract, and you'll know what's at stake before the fight even begins. Okay, so it's the type of contract is guaranteed to give you that. So meaning complete this version of the fight and you'll walk away with this. They are not a make the fight slightly harder and unique, slightly more common kind of system. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Contract terms, some of the restraints on Yama's strength will be removed. If you succeed, you will receive. Okay, cool. The kicker with contracts that you'll have to take Yama down by yourself. This means no getting a friend to carry you, but more importantly, we wanted to steer clear of figuring out how to handle 2 players with the same contract. Yeah, this was a big question. How would they possibly do duo contracts? And it didn't even strike me as a possibility that it just is solo. That is not what I was expecting. Do they do the fight once and get a reward each? Do they have to do the fight twice and risk falling out if one of them underperforms in one of the fights? Does it feel good that Irons need to get a specific contract to tackle stuff with their non-Iron pals? I think this bit is rough and we knew it would be, but it's been good to get some feedback here in advance. I think it's a little weird to make it solo for the harder difficulty when that inherently is reducing complexity. Right? So if you have less people, there's no communication required. There's no like team mechanics going on. It should be like, it's like a step down and a step up at the same time. It feels weird. It would make more sense for the boss to be solo and then like the hard mode be duo, right? Like it's just weird that it gets easier and harder. On the flip side, it is harder by default. Right, I get that. It just feels like a step backwards where like this could be the one thing that's like a real duo challenge, and I think that's what everybody expected it to be. It's not necessarily bad that it's solo. I really would have liked to see something really truly difficult for duo to do, because there's like nothing like that in the game. It would have been interesting and unique. But I get like this system hampers you from doing that. It's really, really difficult to implement this for duo. I don't know how you would. So, having not read the rest, there could be more going on. I feel like this system is holding back the content in a way, at least somewhat. Where if we approach this in a different way, it could still be really difficult duo content. The fact it's a drop, the fact it's tradable is forcing them to make it solo. We think this is the easiest path forward to avoid friends potentially having averse interactions with each other while fighting what's supposed to be a fun boss. Perhaps we're wrong on this and we're open to adjustments once people have had time to get to grips with them, but for now we reckon this is the most sensible approach. I mean, it is a sensible approach, like considering how they built the system. I just think the system inherently is not necessarily good. With Wednesday's release, you'll be able to obtain contracts and see what the rewards are, but Yama has jumbled his terms illegibly. They'll be revealed when contracts are turned on. We're aiming to enable contracts fully next Friday, May 23rd, giving us time to fix any issues or bugs with the core Yama fight and allow players time to stock up on them in advance. They're off for a week. They're off for a week until the week after the bosses come out. Also really, really lame. We'll also say, I think this kills a lot of the hype. It kills a lot of the hype. Like, a lot of people were excited to see everybody, like, try to go for this, and the fact we have another week of, you know, just doing the basic version while, like, waiting for it, I feel like that kills the hype a lot. And again, this is because of this system. How else would you possibly do it if it's a tradable drop? There's no other way, because if it's a tradable drop and these Awakened bosses are out instantly, these contracts are going to be like 100 mil, right? And the only people that are going to get the contract completion are Port Khazard, are the people that can afford the ridiculous GP cost. There has to be a bit of a wait or no one can afford it, right? That's the only way to implement this. But again, I feel like this is restricting, you know, what they can do. It makes it worse. That's fun to watch though. It would be lame if the only people you can watch are Port Khazard, and then people that are definitely capable of it can't afford to do it. That would suck. That would be really, really lame. That would be so boring. Yeah, and they say it here. Allow players time to stock up on them in advance so that any completions for a world first aren't reliant on getting lucky and being one of the first players with a specific contract. What I just said would be awful. Like, if they came out, you had to like hope that you got drops and then like buy them off other players for like 50 to 100 mil. Like no one would be capable of going for this. No one has that much money. So that's annoying. It would basically be people waiting until they come down in price to be able to go try, which would be really lame. Like, this is the only way they could do it. I think the tradable drop thing is not the play here. The added benefit here is that you get Friday and the whole weekend to grind or watch the chaos unfold for yourself, and some time to get to grips with the core mechanics of the fight, similar to the late activation of Awakened variants for the Desert Treasure 2 bosses. This only affects streamers, really. But obviously, I was extremely excited to go try these, like day one, try to rush them, try to get world first.
A leech has
and
spawned.
the fact it's just like, well, they'll come out, you'll get a feel for the boss for a week, and then actually do it. It kind of takes the wind out of the sails a little bit. I would way prefer we get the hard mode variant instantly, and it's like, try to rush to learn the bosses. It would be way more interesting and more fun, more hype. Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like that's really lame. Yeah, that's kind of painful. Like, it would have been really, really hype to have everybody rushing to try to like figure out the bosses, learn off the basic version, and then immediately go jump in and do Awakened. That would be really cool. Keep reading. Yeah, we'll keep going. You'll obtain a good number of contracts from Yama himself. We expect that you'll passively accumulate a nice stash of them on your way to ticking off those collection log slots. Alternatively, you can target farm certain contracts with a lower intensity method if you're willing to help Yama out. Okay, what does that mean? What is target farming? His demons have gotten lazy and can do with being kept on their toes. Chat to Yama and learn a little bit more about how exactly you can help him out. The long and short of this is by killing demons in the Chasm of Fire in specific ways, you'll have a chance at getting a contract as a drop. To keep you on the right track, Yama will display... This is Ascension keys from RuneScape 3. Does anyone remember that? You kill like the basic Slayer mobs, they drop keys, and then you can go fight the boss. That's Ascension keys. Yama Slayer. That sucks, yeah? To keep you on the right track, Yama will display a glyph that indicates how he'd like you to dispatch of his slackers, perhaps as simple as kill it with magic. Oh, it's Slayer with invocations, or kill it while bound. More active methods of dealing with them result in better odds at contract drops. This sucks so bad. That's awful. I don't know. Yeah, that is just terrible. I don't know what to say about that. Like, that is not a good system of getting these as a drop. That's Ascension keys. That's literally Ascension keys. That's so lame. Ascension keys were just a random drop from Ascension creatures, but you needed them to fight the boss. You need a specific key per boss. Well, the contracts are specific, right? There's 7 of them. There were like, what, 6 Ascension bosses or something? This is so similar to Ascension bosses. This feels like the exact same. RuneScape 3 has Ascension bosses, okay? There's a dungeon with all these blue Slayer creatures. You go kill them. They drop randomly these keys. The keys let you go in and kill that boss one time. And once you kill, you get a drop from each of them. You combine it into the super powerful crossbow, basically. There's 6? Yeah, okay. Nobody really likes them because it's really annoying trying to go kill the boss, because it's more so about getting the keys than killing the boss. This target farm method is there for you if you're looking to chill out and stack up some contracts for yourself, or if you've used up all of your stash from Yama himself and still need a couple of attempts. Though it's worth noting that some contracts, particularly those with guaranteed tradable rewards, can only be obtained from Yama and won't be available from the common Chasm cannon fodder. I mean, that's good at least. An added benefit here is that doing a Demon Slayer task in the Chasm should be more appealing for players who just want to sell contracts on. So even if Yama... So I get the logic. The logic is like, here's a second source for them. Increase the amount of them that are coming into the game and make these a bit cheaper. So it's not like ridiculously expensive to start. I get the logic. It just is not a fun way to get them. Can confirm after clogging the Ascension bosses, nobody likes them. I get what they're going for here. I just think it didn't land. Even if Yama is out of your reach for the time being, then you'll still be able to benefit. On top of this, it's an easy lever for us to tweak and make more or less rare if the balance feels off. So we'll be keeping a close eye on the volume of these entering the game, their price, and the feel for irons. I don't want Slayer 2.0. Getting them through like Invocation Slayer tasks is crazy. Like that, I don't know. There's no way that's good. There's no way that's fun, engaging, interesting. You'll obtain a good number of contracts from Yama himself. You'll accumulate a nice stash of them on your way to ticking off those log slots. Alternatively, you can target farm certain contracts with a lower intensity method. This implies that it's slower, I think. I don't think it's explicitly said that it's slower, but it does seem that way. But even if it is low intensity, like things like this, kill it while bound. Make it not like AFK. Like you're still like, I don't know. That sounds really lame. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. One thing we will share is that the contracts for the cosmetic upgrade variant of Oathplate armor, Radiant Oathplate, can be obtained from these demons. Right, they're trying to add an extra source so you can do the hardest contract. We expect this means they'll be in greater supply than Awakener's Orbs, and that trying your hand at these contracts shouldn't break the bank like the chase for Sanguine Torva, while also being a much more chill farm for irons than spending hundreds of hours taking on bosses for any meaningful number of attempts. So if you pull yourself out of your head and you're just looking at this like top down, as the system's running, the whole player base as a whole, you have two sources for these contracts. They're much more common than Awakener's Orbs. They're trying to give you a huge supply of them. They're trying to make it cheaper, more accessible. The problem is just that when you come back to like put your brain back in your head and you think about this, how are you going to approach getting contracts, right? What is the system for, you just lost, you used 5 contracts on your Oathplate attempts and you're out of contracts. Damn, what do I do now? 2 options, be a main and go buy it, or I'm gonna go kill some greater demons. For a while until I get another chance at it. Like, that sucks, right? Like, nobody wants to do that. Like, both of those are not engaging. So I've thought of some like solutions that are like, oh, if you do a thing right, you get a chance at doing the hard version of a boss. You know, if it's doing something more fun to get an opportunity to do it, I think I'd be okay with that. It's just like this drop system, I feel like is just not working. It sounds really like boring to go for. I don't see it. I feel like this is really lame. This system does share some similarities to the Awakener Orb system, but differ in a number of ways. Contracts for cosmetics are target farmable and would likely end up much cheaper than orbs, while rarer contracts will guarantee some kind of tradable reward that will make them more than worth the initial cost, meaning it doesn't feel like a waste to keep coming back. We're really excited to see you push to your oh, that's the end. We're really excited to see you push to your limits by some of these and can't wait to see the kinds of off-the-wall setups and techniques you come up with to sit Yama back down in his big throne, even if you're not sure the contracts are for you. So there's no mention of getting a guaranteed contract or anything like that either. So unless the guaranteed reward includes a contract as well, I don't think there's any mention of you getting a bonus contract if you complete, like people were hoping for. So this has the same exact issues as Awakener Orbs, like post Blorva, right? Like you can't, you still have to buy more contracts if you want to keep doing it. There's no mention of like a no loot difficulty that's free to access, like once you've done it or anything like that. Nothing at all, I don't think, which is crazy to me considering that was like the main issue with Awakener's Orbs. Like you are gate kept from doing it once you've done Blorva. There's no reason to ever go back and you will never do it again. It says some of the contracts have guaranteed tradable reward. Do they mention that they drop a contract at all? I know they give a guaranteed reward. I feel like they would have said that, right? Yeah, no, at no point do they say you get an additional contract upon completion or anything like that. I don't think. Unless I missed it. The team are warm on the idea of getting a repeat contract for untradeable stuff. I'm super happy to raise that as feedback if it crops up a lot. That is probably the biggest thing for me, is that we are still gate kept out once you've completed all the contracts. I think that has to be added. At the very least, that has to be changed, because that's crazy. It's such a huge problem with Awakener bosses. Like, there's so many people I know that would like to give them a shot, and they're just not able to, because like you can't afford to do orbs. So that, even if these are cheaper, right? Let's say these cost 250k. Okay, that's a quarter of an Awakener's Orb, almost. You still cannot grind these contracts in any meaningful way. You cannot do any challenges with that. You cannot do speed runs. You can't fight the boss just casually for fun if you wanted to. There's no way to access the bosses even if they're 250k. Like you can't do it. Don't pitch a duo endgame boss and make the endgame solo. Yeah, so overall take, I get what they're trying to do. They are trying to do it in a better way than Awakener's Orbs. I can see that. And I do think this is better than Awakener's Orbs. Like, no question to me. But there's some major flaws here, I feel like. We have, the way you get these contracts is not engaging. It reminds me of Wave 1 farming for Sunfire Splinters, where it's like, we have this really boring option to like go get more of a thing that you need. And also, we're still gatekeeping. Like, even if it's more common and, you know, like less bad than Awakener's Orbs, it's still gatekeeping people from doing the content. I had this like thought about Awakened bosses. I think that doing aspirational content on a cost per attempt basis is not very good. I think that keeps people from trying new things. I have so many people come to my chat and say stuff like, oh man, Inferno's taking me this many attempts. I feel like I'm not getting things quickly enough. I feel like I'm not capable of this. I feel like this. And I hear the same thing with Colosseum. But with Blorva, it's not even just a mental thing. It's literally, if I don't get this in 150 attempts, I'm out of money. I will not have any more money and I cannot do it anymore. So this system like inherently blocks people like from trying things. And I don't feel like it's something that we should keep doing. I get the concept of like risk reward, like you have a cost, you have to nail it. I get what's trying to be done. I feel like if you're going to do that kind of system, it should be for loot. It should be for GP, like something like that, where you're like paying for an attempt at something that's going to give you great loot. So it's like encouraging you to get really good at grinding the boss, and then you have this risk reward system going for more loot, versus like it's a cosmetic, and it's like it discourages people from doing it constantly. It feels like a bad system for getting people into like endgame stuff. Content should only be gatekept from skill, not GP. Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, obviously everything requires supplies and stuff, but I think like having a huge gate on every attempt is not. So I was thinking like, what if it costs like 50 Awakeners orbs for the, I said the year splash pass. So the water park year splash pass, you can do unlimited awakened bosses for 50 orbs. You just go turn them in and they just let you access awakened bosses. If the goal is to add some profit to the bosses in a drop, like why don't we do a large upfront cost so we stop doing this like gatekeeping on attempts where it's like, it took me this many attempts. The point of guaranteed tradable rewards is that if you're skilled, you'll guaranteed profit every kill because market forces mean the contract effectively must be cheaper than the reward itself, no? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that system. Like the attempt at a guaranteed reward. I think it's a little lame not having a chance at like rare stuff. I don't know. That does feel like I wouldn't want to grind those like long term. But I get the concept of that. If it's like a cost for the risk of like, if it's a drop in addition to that guaranteed drop, like I feel like that'd be a lot better, like grinding. But I feel like the fact that we have the Oath Plate kit thrown into this as well, with the exact same system, no differences, I think that's my problem. Like the fact that like the like HLC, like elite like kit is a per attempt basis with cost. I think I can't get on board with that anymore. I don't know. I really don't like that system. I don't know. I feel like we set off on the wrong approach here. I don't see an easy way to like tweak this and just make it good. Like they've taken the terrible system that is Awakener's orbs and they've like tweaked it to be a little bit better, but it's still like a terrible like approach. I don't get it. I feel like this actively discourages people from playing the game, which is not a thing they should be trying to do. Like the idea is to get people to do this boss. Like that should be the goal, I feel like. Also the fact, like there's a couple things that are like hampered just from the fact they're tradable. Like it has to be solo. The way you get it has to be boring. Team seems willing to be bombarded with feedback, so keen to see how people feel once they see the rewards on offer. Always potential for tweaks. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I haven't seen like what the guaranteed rewards are. I can only speculate what the guaranteed rewards would be. If it's like a huge chunk of like, I'm trying to think like in Colosseum terms, like if there was a guaranteed chunk of like Sunfire Splinters and that was the way, let's say you kill Echo Soul for it. You unlock Echo Soul. It's a rare drop you get, and it gives you a huge chunk of Sunfire Splinters when you do Echo Soul successfully. Like something like that. I feel like it's got to be something similar to that. I feel like it's okay for that kind of thing. It's just the cosmetic I have an issue with. That where it's like, it actively gates people from like the hardest thing available. If you unblur the text, it reads, get 10 Awakener's orbs. My issue as well is that like now that we're so close to release, and these are market tied, that you can't take these off the market once the content comes out. So if we were just like, just wait and see how this is going to be, the fact it's tradable, it's already too late. Like the contracts are not ever going to be made untradable or removed from the market. It is what it is. So that cannot be tweaked. And this should have been talked about earlier. This definitely should have been communicated, I feel like, because it's really important. It's not a thing. It's not like drop rates or something where it can easily be like tweaked a little bit after release. This is really hard to change. This is one of those things that like it needed to be decided on early. I would like something like you pay to enter one time. If you succeed, you get free re-entry. If you fail, you have to pay again. I feel like that still gates people though, no? I've never really liked that either. People have always said just make it so it guarantees an Awakener's orb when you complete the boss. Like that still is like a huge brick wall in the way for like accessing content. And it's so hard to get people to do like this crazy difficult content. I feel like we don't want to put the wall up, you know? It hinders learners. Yeah, I really feel that way. I feel like the gatekeep makes the cosmetic that much more prestigious. It makes it prestigious in the wrong way though. where it's more so about how much GP you have than how good you are, right? It's like the wrong way of, you get what I'm saying? Like it's the wrong way of making it prestigious. It's like it's a lame way of doing it. It's never prestigious because people just service shit. There's that as well, the like heavy encouraging servicing and stuff. And they've said that they're trying to combat that, but rip Goblin. I mean, Goblin just like put the info out here. Like, I appreciate it. I appreciate seeing this. I wish this was talked about earlier. If this was the plan the whole time, because I've heard people talk about, like, Arcane said this at Rinfest. Arcane said this at Rinfest. This was talked about, like, I've heard rumors floating, but, like, none of it was, like, written down or talked about. So, like, if we could have talked about this, like, on the initial blog, I feel like that would have been really helpful. I think mistakes were made all around, and this could have been avoided. Yeah, okay, I do feel like this is a step up from Awakener's Orbs, but Awakener's Orbs are so bad. Like, this is just the wrong way of approaching it. I think that's the overall take. Like, we'll see what the guaranteed rewards are. There's a lot of information up in the air, to be fair.
A leech has spawned.
Not rip at all. We spoke to Death about the duo solo thing, and we knew it'd be rough, so we'd have to wait and see where stuff levels out after release. Yeah, fair enough. I would much prefer that this be the first, like, duo aspirational content in the game, because there's nothing like that. There is, the only thing that's, like, can be done in a group for aspirational content is, like, the Fang. And
a leech has
you're
spawned.
heavily encouraged to just do it solo unless you want to leech. So this could have been the first thing that's like, okay, you need a good duo partner, and this is the first, like, truly difficult piece of, like, group aspirational content to go for. It's a shame it's not that. Yeah, and the Slayer system for additional contracts is just, like, it's such a lame and boring way of doing it. I don't even know how I would do it. It should be, if you're going for the hardest content, it should be like doing something harder allows you to do it more, or something like this is literally like the opposite of what you would like picture for something like this, where it's like the hardest content requires you go AFK Slayer so you can do it more. It's just weird. It feels very backwards. I don't know. I feel like they're trying a bunch of new stuff, which I respect. I just feel like we're off, like we've gone the wrong direction with this. That's my overall take. I'm not a fan of it. Peace, YouTube. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. We'll probably upload this. Surely. Smiley face.